Hello, welcome to my take on it, and your host today is Carl, and welcome to everyone. Hope you like my little backdrop here. You'll find that I'm working from a high-tech studio full of all of the most modern technology. That's a joke. So this is the first video for the channel, and I hope that the people who stop in find value in what they see. Today's video is going to be, well, you've seen the title. 5 things you can do when money is very tight. A little bit of background. I'm in Canada. And happen to live in one of the places with the highest cost of living in Canada, which is not cheap. Cost of living everywhere is rising, but the examples that I'll be giving are for my area on the West Coast. So I hope you like the elephants. Who doesn't like elephants? I had to put something up because gotta have something, and anything's better than my face. So you're welcome to leave comments. I appreciate it if you keep them respectful. People might not agree with what I'm going to say, and that's fine. People can disagree. And also what I have to present here is take it or leave it. I'm not forcing anything on anybody. If you think that if you think it's going to help you out, either some of it or all of it, then take it and run with it. If it's no good to you, fine, just leave it then. All right. So yeah. So let's get started. So 5 things you can do when money is very tight. Number 2 is a really big one, but I hope to only take about 20 minutes of people's time here. And for those who are receptive to it, I think you'll find that it's a very rewarding and valuable 20 minutes investment. All right, so the first thing, and again, these are things that people may already know, maybe just need to be reminded about, or need to learn and develop the habits to practice. So, thing number 1, when money's tight, and it is for so many people in this country, in spite of the best efforts of the current government over the last 8 years, Canada is still a terrific, wonderful, great place to live. We are blessed with myriad types of resources, not the least of which is our human resources, and we have land. We have lots of land. So with everything going on in the world right now, I think it's important to understand that in Canada and in most places in North America, it's a pretty good place to be. So enough of that. So the first thing you can do, and the first thing you should do, and this isn't only when money's tight, but it's responsible money management in general, is to make a budget and stick to it. Don't be afraid of budgeting. A budget is simply a list of priorities, but it does require some effort and, most of all, discipline. All you do is you start with your income, list the fixed costs like rent, prioritize other costs like food, transportation, and so on. And you look at your fixed costs like your phone and internet, see if there's ways to reduce that. Can you get a lower cost plan or reduce your data usage by streaming less? Likewise with transportation, walk or bike instead of taking ride shares and taxis. If you don't have a bike, save for one and or buy a second-hand one. there's plenty out there. I mean, there's plenty of resources available to find used stuff. And this is also very important. Try to save even a little bit of money. It might not seem like much, a couple bucks a week or whatever. But there have been many times in my life when even an extra $10 would have been very welcome and made a big difference. So, just chip away at it week by week, week by week. Quite a few years ago, it's still available probably, there was a book published that was a huge bestseller called The Wealthy Barber. And the cornerstone of The Wealthy Barber was the 10% solution. And that was to, from your gross income, not your net income, from your gross income, right off the top, before anything, save 10%. And that goes, again, back to priorities. So saving should be a priority, but I understand, sometimes it has to, take a back seat. But if you can at all, like I said, even if it's only a couple bucks a week, in 2 months, that's, 16, 20 bucks, whatever. So, yeah. So, number 2 here is the big one. And I'll go through it step by step. I hope this isn't going to sound like a lecture, but it is kind of a lecture. All right. So number 2 is as part of your budget, prioritize feeding yourself with what you need, not what you want. Again, as I said, this is a big one. So for most of human history, we've been focused on not starving and finding ways to get as much food into us as possible while storing it for later, both in our bodies and on our shelves. But for decades now, especially in North America, we eat way more than we need, and often the wrong kind of food. So here's some tips on how to get the nutrition you need while stretching your food dollar further. First one is plan your meals and avoid eating at restaurants and fast food joints. If you don't know how to cook, learn. It's free, pretty much, and it's not that hard to do. If you need pots and pans, you can buy them at the thrift store. You don't need the $500 pots and pans set. You just probably need one saucepan, frying pan, and a couple of other little pans or pots. The second thing is, before shopping, make a list and stick to it. If you get flyers, go through the flyers. Most people have a favorite store, a grocery store that they go to, or might be the only one they have. But, look for the specials. And when you're at the store, avoid impulse buying and convenience foods. That little thing of sushi, it's really good, and lots of people love sushi, but you pay premium for that. Same as if you buy a prepackaged sandwich or whatever the case may be. You're going to pay 4, maybe 5 times what it would cost you to make the same sandwich at home for about 10 minutes work. And watch for discounts. Lots of places. The day before or 2 days before the best before date. They'll put stuff on discount, 30%, 50%, whatever it happens to be. I'm not saying you should buy rotten food. No. The food's still good. Just, plan on eating it right away. And speaking of best before is not consume buy. All right? All best before means is that the product is at its peak until that date. And after that, it can deteriorate in some ways. And for most foods, it's a case of things that are firm get a little mushy, might lose a bit of flavor over time, might lose a bit of color, but it's nothing that's gonna make you sick or kill you. Consume by is a whole different thing. consume by means you have to eat it by that date. Otherwise, you're asking for trouble. Okay, so the next thing is buy canned vegetables and fruit. And fresh fruit, buy it when it's on sale. Might not be as appetizing as fresh fruit, but especially if you're not really into cooking, canned vegetables and fruit, they're a great way to get the same nutrition. Most canned vegetables, they're picked, they go to the canning, they're sorted, they go to the processing facility, and often within 6 to 10 hours, the flavor and the nutrition is locked in, and they're in the can. Cans are also easy to store. They don't require a lot of space, and you get used to it after a while. When you buy juice, buy real juice, not juice drinks that have a bunch of added sugar. And buy fresh potatoes in the bag, on sale if you can. Rice, canned or dried beans. That includes, the brown beans, whatever, regular beans, beans and pork, beans and tomato sauce. Those are fine. And dried pasta. I avoid instant noodles, and I would say they're best avoided, except for use in stir fries. They're great for stir fry noodles. But the flavor packets are mostly sodium and sometimes even MSG, and have virtually no nutritional value whatsoever. So try and minimize that. Same with Kraft Dinner. Yeah. So when it comes to potatoes, most of the nutrition, especially the vitamin C, is in a very thin layer between the skin and the actual flesh of the potato. So you want to eat it all. Eat the whole potato. If you mash them up, that's been a trend in trendy restaurants for a while. Just mash them up with the skins right in there, and there you go. That's good. And the skins are also high in fiber, and that's important too. And I'll talk about more about that in a minute. The next thing is avoid buying pre-cut vegetables, fruits, and cheese. And that goes, like I said, about the prepackaged sandwiches and that kind of stuff. You're going to pay a premium for that. So just try and avoid that. The only exception I would say is the coleslaw or garden salads that you get in the bag. They can be a great value. At my local quote-unquote premium market, their everyday price for a bag of garden salad is $2.47. And that has green lettuce, red cabbage, some carrots. I think that's it. But for $2.50, you get 2 servings, or 1 really big serving. And you want to avoid the salads that include the dressing and the toppings. Again, they charge you a premium for that. Whereas the $2.47 salad, you get, as I said, 2 big servings, or 2 good servings, and maybe 25 or 75 or 50 cents worth of dressing that you bought in the jar. If you like croutons, make your own. It's not that hard. You just need a very few ingredients, and you can fry them up either warm, or you can fry them up, drain them, and dry them out for future use. The next thing is to buy some foods at the discount or dollar store. As I said, I'm in Canada. We have Dollarama. That's one of the biggest ones. And you can get a big can of canned ham for $4 there, or $3.75. I was in there the other day. It was $3.75. and that can easily be stretched into 4 meals. It's an excellent source of protein, and though it's high in sodium, your body needs sodium. Avoid junk canned foods like pasta, you know who I'm talking about, chili and stuff like that. Canned soup is okay. Again, just watch the sodium. Get the condensed soup, not the ready-to-eat soup. First of all, with the ready-to-eat soup, you're paying premium mostly for water. And secondly, they tend to be even higher in sodium than the condensed soups. You know, 3 generations grew up on condensed soups, and everybody's okay for the most part. So, and, you know, can of tomato soup or a bowl of tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich on a cold day, shucks, how can you go wrong with that? Okay, so, but having said that, it's even better to make your own soup. And it's really simple. You know, soup is soup. You know, you toss a few vegetables in, maybe some protein that you've got, a couple noodles, some kind of noodles, some broth, you're good. Yeah, so, hard to go wrong with soup. And at the dollar store, they also carry smaller bottles of decent olive oil, which you can use for your salads or, you know, some things. But for general cooking, canola oil is usually the best and the cheapest. And, you know, you can get a big jug of that for about $7 at Superstore or whatever. Oh, and I mentioned these names, but nobody's getting paid for anything about this, all right? These are just examples of stuff in my region. And I'm not saying they're good or great or whatever. I'm just saying you can get that stuff there. So, the next thing is try to only shop once or twice a week. This will cut down on your transportation costs and also keep you from impulse buying. So, that's a short one. Next one's really short too. Bring your lunch, make your lunch, and bring it to work or school. If you're in university or whatever the case may be. Saves you a lot of money. Saves you a lot of money. You know, you can have some soup and a sandwich and a pickle or a bit of salad, whatever the case may be. You know, for do-it-yourself, under $5. Otherwise, you know, you go wherever, you're paying $15, $18, $20 just for lunch. No, don't do that. The next thing is do and don't. The do is if you have transportation or mobility challenges, take advantage of grocers who deliver. Walmart has a great service. I think it, you know, whatever, I don't know, it's like $4 or something. And they deliver it right to your door. And they also have good prices on a lot of stuff overall. Do not get your food from the meals in boxes companies. They're way overpriced. They hook you on a plan. And personally, being a libertarian, I object to arbitrary portion sizes assigned by them. You know, even on a budget, you know, you can still make food where you can eat as much as you want, not how much somebody else tells you. And, yeah, a bit about dietary fiber. You know, unless you've lived in a cave or under a rock for the last 20 years, you should know how important dietary fiber is. It's one of the best things that we can do for our overall health and our mood. So there's 2 main types of fiber. I'm not going to go into a big science lesson here. Hope you'll bear with me. But there's 2 main types, soluble and insoluble. Soluble means it dissolves in water. Insoluble means it doesn't. So in a nutshell, soluble fiber reduces cholesterol, especially the bad cholesterol, and that's good for your blood vessels and your heart. Insoluble fiber keeps food moving through your colon and cleans it. It literally scrapes the sides of your intestines clean. And that allows for the optimal absorption of nutrients. It's like anything else. If you got a big film or a big bunch of gunk between one thing and the other thing, it's going to be a lot harder for stuff to get from one place to the other. And it's where your intestines are where almost all of your nutrition gets absorbed one way or another. And having a good amount of fiber, really you can't get too much, especially fiber from whole grains and things like that. It also keeps us from feeling grumpy, if you know what I mean. If you have a good go, you're smiling, right? And also fiber and foods that are high in fiber help us to feel full for longer. So, we're not turning around in 2 hours craving something to eat. And the last thing on nutrition, no matter what your age is, take a multivitamin every day. All right, 90 or 120 multivitamins. That's going to last you 3 months or longer. It's not that expensive. Works out maybe to $4 or $5 a month. So do that if you can. Your cells will thank you for it. So yeah, no matter your age, try and take a multivitamin every day. Just get in the habit. It's no big deal. All right, so the third big thing is entertainment, which can be very expensive. Whether it's an expensive hobby, an expensive sport you play, or going to the movies. We do need entertainment. As human beings, we need to be entertained. Maybe not as much, life shouldn't be a carnival where you're constantly entertained. But we do need to be entertained. We need to laugh. We need to have fun. And we need to enjoy watching other people's talent, to be perfectly honest. And just as we need to budget our money, we should also budget our time. Budget time for exercise, time for entertainment, time for sleep. That's something else that's really important for your overall health. And if you go out every weekend and spend $100 in a bar, I don't have much sympathy for your money problems. You got to give it up. It's otherwise you're going to be miserable forever. So yeah, so nights out like that, they should be the rare exception, not the rule. And again, budget's priorities. So if you want to make that a priority, make that a priority. But the money's going to have to come from somewhere else. And it shouldn't be coming from the rent, or the heating bill, or whatever other kind of fixed costs you have to pay. One thing you can do is, instead of all going out to a bar and having an expensive night out, arrange to go to each other's places on a rotational basis, whether it's for sports events or just to socialize. Play cards or other games. There's lots of great games out there. Pictionary is great. Shoot, you don't even need to buy a game. You can do charades. And if you don't know how to do charades, well, look online. Get a book from the library. I know, well, these things might sound quaint, but you can have a lot of fun with them. And almost as important is you're actually interacting with others. You go to the movies and you sit there in the chair and you watch the movie, and the movie's over. You talk a bit about the movie, and that's the end of it. You're not really interacting. That's just what I have to think about that. As a matter of fact, I avoid going to the movies. I can't remember the last time I went to a movie. For my part, there's not much worth going to. And second, most things Most things that come out in the theaters, you can watch them at home a few weeks later. Plus, it's pretty expensive for just a couple hours of entertainment. But if you really love it, then budget it for once a month instead of every week. The last time I went to the movies, it would have been easy to drop $50, just to get in and have a snack. So, but if you love it, you love it, and same as going out to the bar. You're going to have to prioritize that and figure out where the money comes from. Another thing that a lot of people don't do is read books, real books. Books that have covers and pages that you have to turn. Good books ignite our imaginations. They take us to faraway and mythical places, and they're a great way to spend quiet time while not staring at a screen. You don't have to buy expensive books. You can get them from the public library. You can start a book club with your friends, where, every couple weeks, you decide on a book, and you go and you read the book, and then you get back and you meet together, and you review and discuss the books, maybe read back some passages that were important to you, talk about those things. Yeah, just a thought. Number 4 is to understand your tax situation and make sure you take advantage of every deduction and benefit you can. There's a lot of free help out there if you need it. Excuse me. But it's for most people, taxes aren't complicated, and like I said, there's help out there if you need it. The same goes for if you have a job that has benefits. Make sure you know and understand your benefits and take advantage of them as much as you can. Likewise, if you're in a union, the union might offer additional benefits of different types, although they're usually focused on their political agenda and spend their money on that. They're not really focused on you. Backing up a bit with this, it's important for everyone, and it should be understood too that my advice here, if you want to put it that way, it doesn't really apply to people who are homeless, for people who live in abject poverty. It more applies to people who are they're working poor, or moms on mother's allowance that have to stretch every dollar as far as they can so they can feed their kids, and so on and so forth. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And the last thing, number 5, is if after doing doing the things you should do and not doing the things you shouldn't do, of all of these things, and you're still struggling, you might need to try and get a second job. If you get one in food service, they often provide meals as a benefit. So, you'll get 1 free meal per shift, or whatever the case may be. That's something. And, again, if you need to go to the food bank, go to the food bank. You're going to get from the food bank many of the things that I said, are good ways to save money and so forth. But they're also a good resource in many places for fresh fruit and some fresh vegetables. So we're just about ready to wind it all up here. Outside of type money, a couple of other bits of advice just to close things off. If you're in high school, if you're a teenager, young adult, or approaching young adulthood, really seriously think about and plan for your future. Okay, don't just drift along and something will come along, whatever the case may be. Talk to your parents if you're fortunate enough to be able to have a good communication with them. And you can talk to the counselors at school. But most of all, try and find what you like to do and try and do it. You need to always remember, you need to choose a career or a trade that'll allow you to support yourself and reach your life goals, whatever they might be. Whether it's getting married, having children, buying a house, whether it's buying a vacation home, buying your own condo, whatever it is. Those things need to be planned for. They don't just fall into your lap. And if you're already out of school, look for ways to improve your knowledge or skills so you can get a better job or earn more money in the job that you have. Lots of employers offer education and training programs to move up, and you should take advantage of them. Don't just sit around waiting for the union to negotiate or for the company to offer you a raise just because. Now, as I said at the beginning, a lot of people might not agree with what I'm saying here, and that's fine. Go ahead, disagree. You may agree with some of it, but not other parts of it. I'm not singling out any particular group or groups, any particular demographic. These are things that I believe are useful to all people, no matter what. So the last of all, I promise, we're up to about 35 minutes here. I appreciate spending the time with me if you stuck around, and I hope you've enjoyed the elephants. But this might sound kind of hard, but this is the way it is. There's 3 things in life that people need to know, and the sooner they learn them, the better. The first thing is life is hard, and expecting others to take care of you makes it even harder. Also, life is very often unfair. Anybody who tells you a life should be fair is full of BS, to be honest. Alright? Life is not fair. And the way we advance ourselves is by understanding that life is not fair and doing the best that we can in our own way to be fair. And the last thing, and this is more important than anything, no one owes you anything. No one owes you anything. You owe it to yourself and society to take care of yourself and make positive contributions to your community. It's not that complicated, really. As I said, a lot of people might disagree with me. You're welcome to leave comments. As I said, please try and keep them respectful. Anything with profanity will be deleted. And if there's any questions, any further questions people might have, put them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Alright, so that's it for today. After recording this and premiering it, we'll see what the response is, and I might redo it with a live chat so that we can have a live Q&A. So that's all there is to it, and it's the holiday season, the Christmas season, the season of Hanukkah, and so We should always try and keep in our hearts the promise of goodwill and peace. And each of us in our own little way should do our best to foster those things. My mom used to say, you can't solve all the problems of the world. All you can do is take care of your own little corner. So try and take care of your own little corner. For Jewish people, they have a philosophy that each person is a light, and that it's each person's responsibility to turn on their light and help to light the darkness in the world. And there sure is plenty of it. So regardless of faith, whether you have one or not, practice it sincerely, and just as it says with the medical doctors, do no harm. So thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. And as I said, feel free to leave comments. I'll do my best to respond to them. And I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season right through to 2024. Health, happiness, and good fortune.